Welcome everyone to the pre-recorded video for this week of 4th of September. And we are going to discuss a very important topic, and we are going to introduce you to the concept of wells. Okay. So in today's class, what I will do, I will give you an introduction about wells, and then we will come back to wells in our subsequent lectures in different forms as we proceed with the course. Okay. So fundamentally, what is a well? So well is a hole from the surface of the earth to the reservoir drilled to collect information information or data and to produce hydrocarbon and or to inject water or gas for enhanced hydrocarbon recovery. Now, if you read this definition of a well, what you can see, it's a hole, of course, which is it's a hole, of course, which is drilled from the surface of the earth to the reservoir. Yeah, that part describes what well is. Now, why well is drilled? First and foremost is to collect information or data. Okay, that is one of the most primary objectives of drilling a well. Simply because, as we have explained before, that uh, this is where you are standing, this is your surface, and here is your subsurface structure, of course, your reservoir, your source rock, your cap, but you cannot see it from the top, right? So hence you have to drill a well so that you can look through the earth. Okay, so one of the important objective of drilling a well is to collect information or data. And then, of course, if it is a production well, we have discussed about it, you can produce hydrocarbon. And then, of course, if it is an injector well, you can inject water or gas through it for enhanced hydrocarbon recovery. Yeah, we explained that before. Okay. Now, we said it's a hole to the ground, right? To the reservoir. Let us try to look at a very simple well structure. Okay, but remember the well structure can be complicated. So what we are going to discuss, it's a very basic simple well structure, how it looks from the top to the bottom. Okay, and try to understand what each part of the well serves. Okay. Now, so as I said, it's a hole, right? So what essentially is done, suppose this is my top surface. The For the first few depth intervals, what is essentially done, a hole is dug which is pretty large in diameter. Okay? Let us say we are going to start with a 25.4 inch of diameter. Okay, it's a pretty large diameter hole is dug. Okay? And then that is dug, say, up to all the way up to around 500 meters. Okay. Now this depth can vary. I'm just giving you an example. Say up to 500 meter, you dig a hole. Okay. So in 3 dimension, this will look like this, right? Which has a diameter of around 25.4 inch. Then what you do? You stop your drilling. Yeah. And so after you drill till 25.4 inch, okay, you stop drilling. Then what you do? You put some sort of metal case here. Okay, some sort of metal case here to provide stability. Yeah, and this is what we call as casing shoe. Okay, some sort of metal plate at the bottom of the hole is introduced, which we call as casing shoe to give stability. Then what you do? You put a pipe which is slightly lesser in diameter. Okay, all the way up to the bottom of the hole, and which is held by this casing shoe. And this pipe that you have introduced, which is slightly lesser than the open hole, now this is what we call as open hole. And then you have introduced a pipe, which is slightly lesser in diameter, and we call it as casing. And it is very close to the surface. So this particular casing we call it as surface casing. Now there is a gap between your open hole, the actual. So this is your, here is your formation, right? Here is your sandstone, shale, whatever the rocks are. Okay. So there is a gap between your formation. So this is your open hole wall, and this is your casing. So there is a gap, and you fill that gap by some cement, and this is what we call cementing. Okay, you fill that gap by. Then you resume drilling. Okay, then you resume drilling, and second time maybe your drilling is the drilling radius may be of around 12.5 inch. And then again, after you drill say up to 1000 meters or 2000 meters, now this depth will vary. What it will depend on, I will explain that to you. 2000 meter. Okay. Then I introduce another casing shoe. This provides the sturdiness, and then I provide another casing. So you can see slowly the open space in the hole is kind of being reduced, right? And then this part is further, this part further filled with a cement. Okay? This is cemented. This part is cemented as well. Filled with a cement. Okay. Then you might drill with a radius of 6.5 inch. Yeah. Okay. Then you provide another. So this radius 6 inch, and then of course put another casing shoe here. Okay. And then you will also need to put another casing here. We'll need to put another casing here. The space has gone down, but you can understand what I'm trying to do. Put another casing, and then you cement it as well. Okay, this part is cemented on both sides actually. Cemented. This part is also cemented. Everything. So what you are left with is a very small um diameter that reaches up to, say, this is where we are gone up to 3000 meters. Yeah. So it can be, we can stop at 6.5, but if we have to go further, then we can go all the way up to 3.5 inch as well. It can go further down. Now, suppose here I have hit my reservoir. Here I hit my reservoir. But you see, I have already put a casing here, right? I have already put a casing here. So the hydrocarbon will not come out to the well. Okay. So what I have to do, I have to perforate here, right? I have to perforate. Perforate means I'll take some gun, some and shoot the bullets here. Okay. It's not literally a gun, but it's the mechanism is very similar to a gun. And then you make small hole, right? So if I just zoom this part here, yeah, this is the zoomed in part, and you literally make some holes here, okay, with your gunshot, so that hydrocarbon, whatever is sitting in this porous and permeable space, yeah, whatever hydrocarbon is there, can actually percolate through this perforation. So this is what we call perforation, can actually flow into the well. Okay. Now, the final casing which you actually perforate, the final casing which you perforate near reservoir, that is perforated, this is called production casing. Okay. And this one is called the earlier one. So I have the uh, surface casing at the very top, then I have production casing at the very bottom, and intermediate I can have more than one casings which are called intermediate casing. Now you can see, you can imagine how the well looks like then. The well looks like a, like a telescope. It starts with a larger radius and slowly it becomes, you know, smaller radius, right? It slowly becomes smaller radius and it looks like a telescope. And why such, architecture is formed is to provide. So this, this conical, this telescope-like feature is generally provided to actually have more stability on the well. Okay, more stability on the well. Okay, and if you, for example, if you think about it, say what would have been an alternative? The alternative would have been, I just simply push a drill pipe all the way through down. Okay, from 0 meter to 3000 meter or 4000 meter. But what you can try this one, it would have been ductily. Uh, if you try to push a long pipe through the ground through some resistance, yeah, long pipe through the ground through some resistance, you will see that the pipe will bend. Okay, so perhaps you wanted to reach here and you will reach somewhere here. Not only that, you might break your pipe. And there are plenty of other problems as well. So hence, you actually go on with such, uh, telescopic architecture while drilling a well. Okay. Now, why do I need this casing and cementing? Yeah. Why do I need this casing and cementing? Next question. Another document. I'll keep that one for you. So why casing and cementing is required? That is basically due to two reasons. One is to provide mechanical stability to the well, and secondly, to stop fluid flow from anywhere outside the reservoir. What do I mean by that? So, this is the top part, and then, of course, I have several layers. Okay, and then I have drilled a well to the middle, right? This is where my well is. Okay. Now, if I don't case this part, if I don't put a casing or don't put cementing here, what will happen? Fluid will start to come from everywhere, right? Because as I said, if it is a porous and permeable formation, there is at least water here. And there could be some hydrocarbon which we don't want to produce. Okay. We want to produce only from here. Okay. We want to produce because our production must be controlled as well. Okay. We want to produce only from here. Hence, we have to stop the fluid flow from the rest of the well. So, hence, it is necessary to seal off the well from the formation by introducing casing and cementation. Okay. Now, there is another important thing that I want to talk about, and that is what we call as blowout preventer. What is a blowout preventer? So this is the top part of the well as we have been drawing, and then this will slowly become smaller. This is the surface, and there is at the surface there is a mechanism. Okay? There is a mechanism which is like a stopcock. Okay, that can stop fluid to come out of the well in emergency. So what do I mean by that? We are actually operating or we are drilling this well in an environment which has a very enhanced pressure. And as we move with our depth, okay, the pressure actually increases. Okay, so P1, P2, P3, P4. Okay, the fluid pressure actually increases a lot. And here you are at the top surface, you are working in the atmosphere. Okay, the atmospheric pressure. And you can imagine that P1, P2, P3, P4, all of them are extremely higher with respect to P atmosphere. How higher, we will discuss later on. Okay. And if there is something wrong happens with your operation on the well, what can actually happen? The fluid can come out. Okay. And fluid can actually blow out of the well. Okay. Very quickly can blow out of the well, and it can cause accident. Okay, if it is water, if the fluid is water, then it can cause mechanical accidents. The rig will burst. And then if it is hydrocarbon, of course, then it can actually burn the rig wherever you are operating your well from. Okay, so in case of emergency, such flow must be stopped. So there is a mechanism which is put in place, which looks like a stopcock, that can completely seal off this well, okay, and stop any fluid to come out, and which we call a blowout preventer. Now, as I said, one of the major uh, uh, reason for which you drill a well is to gather information, right? Gather information. And how do you gather information in a well? There are few things you can do. Number one, look through cuttings, boring, and geophysical well logging. So I'll explain what are these things one by one. Let us first talk about cuttings. Okay, what is cutting? Cutting means, so how do you drill a well? So you have a drill pipe, right? You have a drill pipe, and there is a drill bit at the end of the drill pipe. Okay, there is a drill bit, and this has like diamond bits here, and then this drill bit actually rotates, and while it rotates, it actually cuts the formation. So it cuts the formation, surrounding formation, and it moves down, right? So while it cuts the formation, what happens? It produces small chips of the rock that it is cutting, right? and those small chips are called actually cuttings. So while you drill, what happens? You also pump water. Yeah. Why you pump water? Primarily for two reasons. One is for lubrication. Second is for maintaining the temperature. As you know, you are drilling with your with this diamond bit by rotating it. Okay, and it will create a lot of temperature because of the friction with the formation, right? So you have to cool it down. So hence also you pump some water, or water plus some clay, which we call as drilling mud. So while you drill it with this drilling mud, okay? And so one thing it does, it actually cools down. So what is the purpose of drilling mud? Number one, cools down, or it maintains temperature. Okay. Number two, it maintains pressure as well. Maintains pressure. What do I mean by that? So, while you are drilling, of course, you also have a higher pressure at the formation, right? So you have to balance it with some sort of fluid that you are pumping through the well. Okay. So this particular drilling mud that you are pumping, it also maintains the pressure. Third thing that it does, it actually circulates, right? So if this is my total hole that it is being created, and you are pumping your drilling mud through it, so the drilling mud goes down and then it comes back as well. So it circulates. So while it comes up with cuttings. Okay, so it takes up cuttings. Okay, now you can, so cuttings are nothing but the rock fragments, right? Okay, and that, say for example, at 500-meter depth, from 500-meter depth, this cutting has come up. Okay, so you can look through those cuttings under microscope and you can describe the formation. Okay, you can describe the formation, so you can get some direct evidences or direct information about the nature of the formation while you collect those cuttings and actually examine those cuttings, right? Now, the second source of information is from codes, and I explained that to you. It's a very special type of drill pipe that you send to take a core out. Okay, so here is my drill pipe, and then of course here is my drill bit. Okay, and then this drill bit is hollow. Okay, this drill bit is hollow. So what will happen while it rotates and cuts the formation? This actually also takes out a cylindrical rock out with it. Okay, and this is what we call core. You can also analyze this core and talk about the different formation that it is cutting through. Okay, now remember, coring is very expensive, and hence it is only done most likely in the reservoir section. is mostly done in the reservoir section. And the third thing is geophysical well logging. Okay. And geophysical well logging are generally of two types. One we call as LWD, and LWD stands for logging while drilling, and the other type is called wear line. So I will explain both of them. So let us first talk about the LWD logging. What is done in LWD logging? So this is your drill pipe. Okay. And here is your drilling blade. So, and it drills down. At the very immediately above the drilling blade, there are some sensors. Okay. There are some sensors which different property, analyzes different properties of the formation. Yeah, it analyzes different properties of the formation and sends it back to the surface where in a computer you can actually read it. So this sort of logging, this sort of collecting information is done while the drilling is going on. Okay, while the drilling is going on, you do some sort of logging. You get some sort of information about the formation, about the fluid which is present inside, and so on and so forth, about its pressure, so on and so forth. And this is what we call as LWD logging. And there is another type of geophysical logging which we call as wear line logging. And what is done? So after you have actually finished your drilling, after you have finished your drilling, after drilling is done, you send some sort of probe. Okay? You send some sort of probe, some sort of geophysical probe. Okay? And then you pull it up. Okay? Then you pull it up. While pulling it up, this geophysical probe actually sends you information about the different formation and the different lithologies, pressure, fluid properties, and everything. And this is what we call as wear logging, wear line logging. Wear line logging is further subdivided into two categories. One we call as cased hole logging, and another one we call as open hole logging. In open hole logging, what the logging is done in the open hole before casing, before the casing is actually introduced, and in cased hole logging, the logging is done after the casing is introduced. Okay, so then what you essentially get after any sort of logging, be it LWD logging, be it well line logging, what you actually get is these type of graphs, right? Where in the y-axis I have depth, yeah, drilling depth, and in the x-axis some sort of signal, and then the signal will of course vary with depth. And by studying the nature of the signal with respect to depth, you can actually say whether it is sandstone, whether a particular depth interval is shale. So you can talk about lithology. You can talk about formation fluid. You can talk about pressure. You can talk about temperature, and so on and so forth. So this is when you actually study this signal, and then interpret what is its lithology, what is the formation fluid, what is the pressure, what is the temperature. This study is called petrophysics. Petrophysics, or simply logging, log interpretation. Okay, we will have a dedicated class or two on the on petrophysics and well logging. What are the different signals that you observe, and then how to interpret them? We will read that. Now, wells wells can be vertical, can be inclined, can be horizontal. So vertical well means, suppose here is a very simple reservoir that I have, okay, and then I drill my well. It's completely vertical from the surface. I take my gas and well, oil and gas out. Okay, this is the vertical well. Now, an inclined well could be, here is my reservoir, and then I start from here, okay, and I drill a slanted well, an inclined well. This can be an inclined well. Now, why should I try? Sorry, why should I drill an inclined well? Okay, suppose, for example, here is my reservoir, and this is what I want to drill. Here is my target zone, and suppose I have a big building on the at the surface here. Okay, say for example, I have, ISAR Bhopal at the top of it. Now I will not. The authority will not allow me to break the building and draw a vertical well, right? So one of the reasons of drilling an inclined well is, say for example, I will start drilling from the Bhawdi village, okay, and reach below something which is beneath the ISA Bhopal campus, okay. So for such examples, we will drill an inclined well. And then, of course, the third basic category is horizontal well. And horizontal well generally, so here is my reservoir. A horizontal well generally starts with a vertical well or an inclined well, and in the reservoir it becomes horizontal. Why do horizontal wells are generally drilled? So this is a horizontal well. Horizontal wells are generally drilled to maximize the area of intersection between the well and the formation. Okay, so the area of intersection is increased, right? You can see here, if I would have drilled a vertical well, the area of intersection would have been limited, right? But if I drill a horizontal well, the area of intersection is more, and I can drain more oil and gas out to the reservoir, from the reservoir to the well. But this can also be, this vertical part can also be an inclined part. Okay, that's no problem. This is what we call an horizontal well. The last category, of course, is we call as composite wells. So nowadays, people are drilling all sorts of very difficult looking. Suppose this is the Earth's architecture, and suppose here is my reservoir, okay, and this is the top of the top surface. Maybe I drill the first part being vertical, then I go little bit inclined, and then I drill a horizontal. So this the well trajectory. This is what we call well trajectory. Can be composite. So this is where I will stop today. I just wanted to give you a brief introduction about wells. We will study all elements of wells in greater details throughout the course. But I think it is important that you get at least an idea uh, of the wells, which are one of the fundamental things in the petroleum business, so that you can understand uh, how this hydrocarbon is taken out. And of course, we will talk about the details about it in our subsequent classes. Thank you very much.